This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
We're working to connect a region of over 600 cultural bridges between our lands.
Hello, Malma Angeles. Welcome to ASEAN in Focus. We're coming to you live from Manila in Vietnam. Hello, Eliana.
Hi, I'm Eliana Faith Sebastian from EBC Vietnam Bureau, giving you the news in the dynamic ASEAN region.
On today's headlines, the Philippines tops 2 million coronavirus cases as the country battles a record surge in infections that the World Health Organization confirmed is being driven by the hyper-contagious Delta strain.
Malacanang says it respects the grievances aired by healthcare workers through protests to demand the release of their long overdue benefits and the resignation of Health Secretary Francisco Duque III.
And Vietnam announced an amnesty for more than 3,000 prisoners ahead of the country's independence anniversary.
U.S. swimmer Haven Stepher lost her legs as a baby after her parents detonated a bomb in Vietnam intended to kill the whole family. This week at her maiden Paralympics in Tokyo, the upbeat teenager said her goals were all about just going out and having fun.
First, here in the country, the Philippines topped 2 million coronavirus cases as the country battles a record surge in infections that the World Health Organization confirmed is being driven by the hyper-contagious Delta strain. Take a look. In recent weeks, daily case rates have hit the highest levels since the start of the pandemic, and the health department warned the trend could continue. Wednesday's official data showed that the country recorded 14,260 new infections, taking the total caseload to just over 2 million, with 33,533 deaths in the country of 110 million people. Daily cases exceeded 22,000 for the first time on Monday, more than double the number of August 6. On August 6, when the sprawling national capital region went back into lockdown. WHO representative in the Philippines, Rabindra Abayasinghe, said the latest resurgence was being driven by the Delta variant, which has ripped through neighboring countries. The lockdown in the capital and nearby provinces has been extended until next week as authorities battle to slow the spread of the virus. Abayasinghe said the latest lockdown, accelerating vaccination rate and increased hospital bed capacity, had so far prevented a complete overwhelming of the country's healthcare system.
The Department of Health and the World Health Organization does not support vaccine bubbles at this time, although Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergeres said that the DOH has not closed its doors to this idea. Let's listen in.
Ngayon, pinag-aaralan yan at hindi po namin isasara yung pintuan namin din sa ganyang usapin. Dadating po tayo sa punto na yan. Once supplies are stable, once vaccine coverage has improved already, not just here in NCR but also in the other regions, and once our cases are already manageable.
The concept of bubbles for vaccinated people doesn't actually hold true because you will continue to be at risk of getting infected. And if you are infected, you could infect other people.
Presidential Advisor for Entrepreneurs, HIPIP Joey Concepcion earlier floated the idea of allowing only the vaccinated to enter public establishments like malls and restaurants in areas that have inoculated 70% to 80% of their population. Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA Chair Benjamin Benhur Abalos Jr. also earlier said the Metro Manila Council is eyeing vaccine bubbles or allowing fully vaccinated individuals to access facilities and services deemed unsafe for the unvaccinated once an agreed on vaccination target is reached.
The Department of Science and Technology vaccine experts said the local COVID-19 vaccine mix and match study may begin this September. And laging handa briefing yesterday, DOST VEP fellow Dr. Nina Gloriani said the local vaccine mix and match may soon start this month using the COVID-19 vaccines available in the country, such as Sinovac, paired with other vaccines. Gloriani said that the only data present for mix and matching vaccines worldwide is from Europe, while there is no available data for Sinovac. Let's listen in.
Wala po tayong datos dyan kasi ang Sinovac ay dito sa ating area. Sana sila makakapagbigay sa atin ng unang data. No? Ang data that we have for mix and match, itong heterologous ang tawag natin dyan na vaccines na ibibigay, ay nasa Europe, nasa Astra, Pfizer, Astra, Moderna, Astra, Novavax, Astra, Janssen. No? Yung Sinovac ay wala pa tayong data na pag binigay yung another vaccine platform or another brand ay maganda yung resulta or yung safe. No? So, hintayin natin din sila pero ang Sinovac po ay may mga pag-aaral na nagbigay na rin sila. Nakita nila yung waning immunity, no? So kaya nagbigay sila doon sa isang grupo, yung mga una nilang nabakunahan ng third dose. 1 month after nung second dose, 6 months after nung second dose. At meron din silang kaunting data yung nabigyan ng 1 year after the second dose. At nakita doon sa pag-aaral ng mga yon, Sinovac po ito, no? Na habang mas mahaba yung interval between the second and third or booster doses na tinatawag, ay mas maganda yung immune response. So, tignan natin, yung sa Sinovac, kaya nga po tayo merong mix and match local study rin na mangyayari kung saan gagamitin natin ang Sinovac. Sinovac. So, pwedeng yung tatlo ay pare-pareho, no, all throughout. Or Sinovac, at yung mga iba pa. Ang third dose ay maiiba. So hopefully, mag-uumpisa po yung ating mix and match anytime soon this month. So ngayon po, ang datos na itong mga bakuna na to ay halos pare-pareho yung protection against the severe form. Nag-iiba sila ng konti doon sa protection against the mild to moderate form ng COVID or even against asymptomatic infection. So, pero doon sa severe form ay pare-pareho sila.
Face shields provide an extra layer of protection. According to an expert on Wednesday, the expert urged the public to continue following minimum public health standards. Let's listen in.
Sa lahat po, I think, ng kailangan natin maalala. So, usually, may apat. Sa HPAC, meron kaming apat dapat. No? So, ventilation is very important. Tapos, nandyan yung masks, physical distancing. No? Yung face shields po is actually an extra layer of protection. I am aware po na merong iba na who are questioning this particular intervention, pero po habang wala pa po tayong masyadong maraming datos, ang thought po ng government and ng experts is by wearing a face shield, meron kayong extra protection po. Particularly kasi kapag hindi kayo nakapaghugas ng kamay at meron kayong virus sa kamay, no, hindi nyo madaling nahahawakan yung kamay, hindi nyo madaling nakukusok yung mata nyo. Meron naman pong pagsusuri na ginawa sa ibang bansa, no, na mukhang nagsushow po na face shields in addition to face masks are effective po siya, no, in preventing you from getting COVID, no, in preventing transmission of COVID. Pero ang importante po talaga dito is hindi po pwede na face shields on its own. Kailangan po may face mask kasi mas importante po na matakpan ang ilong at ang bibig para po hindi malanghap yung COVID. Alam po natin na ang Delta variant is very transmissible. Mas madali po siyang maipasa. Siguro po isa-isang someone na walang bakuna, yung amount of virus in the nose, no, parang 1,000 times higher than the older versions of the virus, no. So kapag hindi naka-properly nasuot ang face mask at face shield, no, mas madali talaga pong ipasa yung virus. Now, kung samahan pa po yun ng hindi tamang paggamit ng face mask at face shield, hindi proper yung physical distancing, hindi madalas maghugas ng kamay, so pwede po talagang kumalat ng mabilis. Una po ang mensahe natin sa mga kababayan natin, no? I think now is not the time to be complacent. Now is not the time po na mapagod tayo sa pagsunod sa minimum public health standards. Kabisado na po natin to. Face shields, physical distancing, masks lalo na, no? Hand washing, tapos bakuna.
Now to Maldives now, where the President's office has announced that there are approximately 30,000 people who have not had their first jab of the COVID-19 vaccine. Joining us live is Steffi Diwan. Hello, Steffi. Please tell us more.
Hi, Alma. Yes, President's office announced on Wednesday that there are approximately 30,000 people who have not taken even their first dose of COVID-19 vaccine. In a press conference on Wednesday afternoon, President's office spokesperson Mabruk Aziz said that 85% of the adult population in Maldives have received their first dose, and 84% of the children between 12 and 17 years have received their first dose. According to Mabruk, many of the people who have not received their vaccine reside outside the Maldives. He added that there are many people among the unvaccinated who are very difficult to reach, but they are working on identifying each of them. For example, there are some 30,000 people within the population above the age of 18 years who have not received any vaccine dose. Many of them lived outside Maldives, he said. As of last Monday, 383,620 people have received their first dose and 302,182 people have been fully vaccinated. Restrictive measures against people who have not been fully vaccinated kicked in this Wednesday. This includes ban on use of public transport, ban on entering school premises, ban on obtaining services at cafes and restaurants, ban on working from offices, and ban on obtaining services at salon. Unvaccinated travelers are also required to pay for their own PCR test upon completion of the mandatory travel quarantine. And that's my quick update from Maldives. Back to you, Alma.
All right. Hopefully everyone gets vaccinated there. Have you been vaccinated, Steph?
Yes, Alma, fully vaccinated.
Very good. Me too. Same here. Thank you very much, Steph, for your update. Looking forward for more.
Thank you so much, Alma. Reporting live from Maldives. This is Steffi Diwan. We live in interesting times.
Vietnam's Tourism Advisory Board proposes trial of countrywide travel pass. That and more from our EBC Vietnam Bureau's Ralph Wandolf-Empire. Hello, Ralph.
Hi there, Eliana. That's right. Vietnam's Tourism Advisory Board has proposed piloting a type of travel pass for people who have been fully vaccinated or recovered from COVID-19, as well as those who have tested negative for the coronavirus to travel countrywide. The plan is expected to help the central government, provincial and municipal authorities, enterprises, and people confidently resume business and travel in order to ensure both economic development and COVID-19 prevention and control missions. Experts in the team suggested issuing a travel certificate tentatively named Vietnam Green Travel Pass, which will allow its holders to travel between provinces and cities in the country. The application of the travel pass is expected to include, but is not limited to, participation in domestic events and having meals at restaurants. The experts plan to introduce the travel pass in a smartphone application that allows quick access and real-time extraction of user information. The travel pass can be in the form of a quick response code on a mobile phone or printed on paper to ensure that the information is accurate and cannot be forged. People who have been fully vaccinated or recovered from COVID-19, as well as those who have tested negative for the coronavirus within the previous 72 hours would be eligible to be granted the Green Pass. While deciding the travel pass for domestic use only in the near future, the Tourism Advisory Board experts suggest the government negotiate bilaterally or multilaterally with other countries and territories to sign agreements allowing Vietnamese citizens to use the Vietnam Green Travel Pass for overseas travel once the country resumes international tourism activities. In other news, the Department of Immigration has issued a notice on automatic stay extension for foreigners stranded due to COVID-19. Accordingly, foreigners who entered Vietnam on visa waivers, e-visas, or tourist visas from March 1st, 2020 are entitled to automatic stay extension until September 30, 2021, and can depart from Vietnam without having to apply for a stay extension. For those who entered Vietnam before March 1st, 2020, the same automatic stay extension until August 31st, 2021 can be considered subject to provision or proof that the person was stranded in Vietnam due to COVID-19. During automatic stay extension period, foreigners shall be required to complete temporary residence and health status declaration. That's the latest here in Vietnam. Back to you, Eliana.
Thank you, Ralph, for your updates. Please do always stay safe and healthy.
Likewise, Eliana, but before I go, I'd like to take this opportunity to greet all Vietnamese around the world. Chúc mừng Phuoc Khai, Vietnam. Happy National Day. Reporting live from Da Nang, Vietnam, I am Ralph Pandop Ampai. We live in interesting times.
Happy National Day. Around 703,000 Pfizer BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine doses were delivered on Wednesday night to the Philippines, increasing the country's supply, which has already reached 51.8 million doses. Flight LD456 landed at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, or NAIA Terminal 3, before 9 p.m. on Wednesday night. The government said 600,210 doses will be allocated to the National Capital Region and its neighboring provinces. Around 51,480 doses of the vaccines have already been delivered to Cebu earlier, while another 51,480 doses are scheduled to be delivered to Davao on Thursday, today, September 2. Meanwhile, the National Task Force Against COVID-19 said it had started the implementation of a recalibrated deployment strategy for more equitable vaccine distribution. Around 12 million vaccine doses are expected to be shipped to the country this month from the government's procurement and donations. As of August 31, the number of vaccinated individuals has already reached 33,706,295.
Malacanang on Wednesday said it respects the grievances aired by healthcare workers through protests to demand the release of their long overdue benefits and the resignation of Health Secretary Francisco Duque III. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said the 1987 Constitution gives all Filipinos the right to peacefully assemble and petition the government for redress of grievances. He also pointed out that the Department of Budget and Management, or DBM, has already released over 300 million pesos in funds for the Special Risk Allowance, or SRA, of healthcare workers. Let's take a look.
Well, karapatan po ng lahat ng mamamayan na ipaharating ang kanilang damdamin, no? At siyempre po, yan ay protektado ng saligang batas. Pero yung ating tinatawag na special risk allowance, yan po ay nai-release na. No? Nagkaroon po ng kaunting delay dahil nga po dun sa pagsusumite ng mga pangalan sa hanay ng mga pribadong hospital. Kasi yung special risk allowance ay binigay po ng Kongreso sa lahat ng health workers, hindi lang po sa panggobyernong mga health workers. No? Yung iba pang mga benepisyo naman po na nakasaad sa batas, lahat po yan ay ibibigay. No? Pero ang issue rin po ay sa nating kukunin. No? Kung kukulang na ang pondo. Pero sa SRA po, tapos na po yan. Perhaps Yusek Kanda can add, yung mga ibang benefits po na hinihingi nilang ma-release gaya ng mga meal allowances. No? If you have any information on this, Yusek Kanda.
Ang meal allowance kasi at saka transportation is supposed to be, meal accommodation and transportation, supposed to be charged yan against DOH budget. Yan ang malinaw doon sa nakasaad na approval galing sa Office of the President. Kanya lang, sa sobrang laki at dami ng claims, ang sabi namin sa DOH, nakipag-usap si Secretary Duque na pwede bang releasean yan? Sabi namin, sir, papaklear po namin yan. Pero in the meantime, hinighlight din namin sa DOH saan nila pwedeng kuhanin yon in the meantime. Ang requirement kasi for this purpose is something like 13 billion pesos. So medyo mahirap na i-accommodate yan sa loob ng budget ng DOH. So, yun ang aming pero tama si Spokes na yung SRA so far naibigay na at na-distribute na sa mga ospital. Yung actual grant na lang siguro dun sa mga taong entitled, yun ang entitled dito sa allowance na to, yun yung hindi pa nagagawa.
On Wednesday, frontline healthcare personnel picketed outside the DOH compound in Manila and outside their own offices to call for the release of their hazard pay and other allowances. They said the SRA released was not enough to compensate the 1.8 million healthcare workers in the country.
The National Capital Region is on track to fully vaccinate about 72.56% of its eligible population against COVID-19 by October this year. Metropolitan Manila Development Authority Chair Benjamin Benhar Abalos Jr. said on Wednesday. In a virtual presser, Abalos said the figure is based on NCR's eligible population of 9,800,000, 70% of NCR's current 14 million population. To date, he said a total of 12,509,552 COVID jabs have been administered in the region, with 8,009,042 getting their dose and 4,500,000 510 getting their 2 doses of COVID-19 vaccine. Mr. Abalos said the Metro Manila Council is eyeing vaccine bubbles or allowing fully vaccinated individuals to access facilities and services deemed unsafe for the unvaccinated once an agreed-on vaccination target is reached. He also noted the importance of avoiding discrimination against the unvaccinated while enforcing the policies. An example, he said, would be allowing the vaccinated to engage in certain activities in crowded and enclosed spaces that are currently prohibited by health and safety policies. And ASEAN in Focus will be right back. Stay tuned.
This day marks another year of the most significant day in Vietnam. Today we celebrate its Day of Independence.
Distance may separate us, but our hearts rejoice with you. On this special day, we would like to show our appreciation to Vietnam.
Thank you, Vietnam. May this day bring everyone peace and happiness.
Thank you, Vietnam, for the land that you are. Every scenery and destination in your country are treasures to behold.
Thank you, Vietnam, for your rich and delicious cuisine. It not only filled our tummies, every dish gave us a unique experience.
Thank you, Vietnam, for the unforgettable experiences. Every step we took in your country will always be part of our journey.
Thank you, Vietnam, for the wonderful people. We may be foreigners here, but your warm welcome made us feel home.
Happy Vietnam National Day!
Muốn ngài có can Vietnam. Happy Vietnam National Day!
Chúc mừng ngày độc lập.
Welcome back to ASEAN in Focus. The Coast Guards of the Philippines and the United States have conducted a joint maritime exercise off Subic Bay in Zambales, north of Manila. The U.S. sent its Cutter Monroe with unmanned aircraft system Scan Eagle, while the Philippines deployed several of its vessels to participate in the maritime exercise that include search and rescue and other emergency response operations. To recall, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said President Duterte's decision to recall the abrogation of VFA is based on upholding the country's strategic core interest, the clear definition of Philippine-U.S. alliance as one between sovereign equals, and clarity of U.S. position on its obligations and commitments under Mutual Defense Treaty. The VFA is a 1998 military deal signed by Manila and Washington, which allows American troops to join military drills in the Philippines sans the need to secure a passport and visa. Duterte ordered the VFA's revocation in February 2020. The military pact was supposed to be officially scrapped in August last year, but its termination was suspended for 3 6-month periods. The latest was in June this year when Duterte decided anew to extend the VFA's validity for 6 more months.
Singapore's Prime Minister was awarded more than $250,000 in damages after winning defamation suits against a news website editor and writer, the latest libel cases brought by the leader. Critics say such lawsuits are among a range of tactics employed by the tightly regulated city-state to silence dissent. Terry Hsu, chief editor of the online Citizen Asia and a writer for the site, were accused of defaming Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong in 2 separate lawsuits. The writer, Rubashini Shunmaganathan, had penned an article in 2019 about a bitter feud that has rocked the Premier's family. Prime Minister Lee will donate the damages to charity, the Straits Times newspaper reported. The row covered by the website was between Lee and his siblings over the legacy of their father, Singapore's late founding leader Lee Kuan Yew, and the drama captivated the city-state unused to public feuds among the elite. Hsu, whose site is typically more critical of authorities than the pro-government mainstream media, has launched a crowdfunding campaign to cover the cost of the damages. Meanwhile, we go back to Vietnam, where the country has ordered the selling of domestic flight tickets coming in. And live with us is Micah Gwyneth Apostol. Hello, Micah.
Hello, Alma.
Go ahead, Micah.
Here's another update from Vietnam. Airlines are to stop selling domestic flight tickets. This is requested by the Civil Aviation Authority of Vietnam. Customers who purchased tickets from July 21 will be refunded. The CAAV since July has been requesting airlines to limit the number of flights from socially distancing localities due to the increasing COVID cases. One of the important flight routes, the Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh City, had been limited to 2 flights per day. Passengers who would be permitted to fly are to present effective negative coronavirus documents. Vietnam closed its borders for international passengers since March of 2020 and has only allowed certain visitors to enter, with a stringent compliance with the COVID-19 quarantine requirements. Moreover, a total of 445,292 cases have been recorded since the fourth wave of the COVID in late April. Back to you, Alma.
All right, thank you very much for your update, and I'm happy to see you here. Happy National Day over there in Vietnam. Thank you, Micah.
Thank you, Alma. I would also like to take this opportunity to greet Vietnam a happy National Day. Stay strong and safe, Vietnam. Reporting live from Da Nang, Vietnam, this is Micah Guneth Apostle. We live in interesting times.
Vietnam on Tuesday announced an amnesty for more than 3,000 prisoners ahead of the country's independence anniversary. Let's take a look.
Quyết định Điều 1 đặc xá cho 3.026 phạm nhân đang chấp hành án phạt tù và 3 người đang được tạm đình chỉ chấp hành án phạt tù. 6 người đang được hoãn chấp hành án phạt tù có điều kiện được hưởng đặc xá năm 2021.
Prisoners jailed for corruption, drugs, and other criminal offenses are among those eligible for an early release, and the list includes 21 foreigners, according to Deputy Minister of Public Security, Le Quoc Khung. Hung refused to say how many political prisoners would be freed, insisting there are no prisoners on political charges in Vietnam. Human Rights Watch says more than 130 political prisoners are behind bars in communist Vietnam as of May this year, and the country has a reputation for leveling harsh punishments against government critics and dissidents. In recent years, the hardline administration has tried to stamp out dissent and arrest critics, especially those posting on social media platforms. The president's office said this was the first amnesty in 4 years, and inmates will be released from Wednesday.
The National Task Force Against COVID-19 is eyeing to expand the country's vaccination program to the general public and children with comorbidities by October. In an interview at the Kapihan sa Manila Bay News Forum on Wednesday night, NTF Chief Implementer Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. said the government is already preparing for the expansion of the vaccine rollout to other sectors of the society. Take a look.
Ngayon po, ma'am, nag-present po ako kay Presidente na ang ating mga supply po ay bibigyan natin priority ang mga rehiyon. Kasi nakita po natin na mataas na po ang ating vaccination rate dito po sa Metro Manila. Ang ginawa po natin ay nagkaroon po tayo ng equitable distribution based dun sa unvaccinated population. So yung ginawa po namin yun, ino-open na po namin ang vaccination sa A1 to A5. Gumawa na po kami ng pronouncement na yung lahat po ng mga bayan at saka mga probinsya ay pwede na pong mag-accelerate ng kanilang tatawag nating targeted population from A1 to A5. And we are proposing that by October, magdi-general population na po tayo. At we are proposing na yung mga, lalo na po yung mga vulnerable na mga children na may comorbidities, i-open na po natin yung by October. Because we believe by October, meron na po tayong enough supply at saka magsasaturate na po ang ating mga tinatawag nating mga volumes kasi ibig sabihin, the demand and also the supply already meet already. So yun po ang tinitingnan po namin na kailangan mag-open up po tayo ng additional sector para po di masaturate ang ating mga vaccine.
Galvez assured an equitable distribution of COVID-19 jabs in various regions and provinces nationwide. The government's primary consideration in the vaccine development, he said, is based on the area's number of unvaccinated individuals from their target eligible population for the COVID-19 vaccination program.
The health minister Wednesday confirmed that the coronavirus has claimed 2 more lives, including a 25-year-old man who became the youngest COVID-19 fatality in Brunei. Identified as case 1888, died of a lung infection after testing positive for the coronavirus on August 24, YB Dato Seri Setia, Dr. H.J. Mohammed, Isham H.J. Jafar said during a press briefing. A 54-year-old woman known as Case 499 also died of COVID-19 complications after she was diagnosed with the virus on August 12. 11 people have succumbed to the coronavirus since the pandemic began, including 8 deaths in the second COVID-19 wave. The Ministry of Health reported 146 new locally transmitted coronavirus cases on Wednesday, a 105.6% jump from the previous day. Brunei had reported declining new cases over the past 2 days before numbers surged again.
Indonesia's data from Indonesia's COVID-19 task force has revealed that Bali currently has the most red zone regions across the country. Coronavirus cases in the province have been gradually declining in recent weeks. The province is still categorized as a level 4 under Indonesia's tiered enforcement of restrictions on public activities protocol, which carries the tightest set of restrictions. The province is still categorized as a level 4 under the enforcement restrictions on public and tiered enforcement of restrictions on public activities protocol, which carries the tightest set of restrictions, and will follow the developments out of Indonesia.
ASEAN in Focus will be back after a short break.
Iba't ibang sakuna at kalamidad ang nararanasan ng bansa. Kapag may banta ng panganib, kailangang maging alerto at kung kailangang lumikas ay magtungo sa ligtas na lugar. Bilang paghahanda sa mga ganitong pagkakataon, mahalaga na may gobag na dadalhin ang pamilya. Narito ang dapat na nilalaman ng gobag ng isang pamilyang handa. Mahalagang dokumento sa selyadong lalagyan, flashlight, kandila, posporo at silbato, radyo na may bago at ekstrang baterya, first aid kit kasama ang panlunas sa lagnat, LBM, sugat at iba pa. Ang mga gamot na regular na iniinom ng pamilya. Magagamit para sa mga sanggol, bata, matatanda at may kapansanan, pera at mga barya. Pagkain na madaling ihanda, di na kailangang lutuin at sapat para sa 3 araw. Inuming tubig sa saradong lalagyan at sapat para sa 3 araw. Telepono, power bank at charger. Lubid, lumang dyaryo, matitibay na lalagyan, damit, kapote, bota at mga sanitary supplies, sleeping bag o banig at mga kumot. Suriin ang mga laman ng gobag kada 3 buwan at palitan ang mga laman nito na malapit nang masira. Ilagay ang gobag sa lugar na madali itong makita at makuha sa oras ng sakuna.
That I was born for you. It was written in the stars. It's as if the powers of the universe conspired to make you mine. I bless the day that I was born for you.
Hello, it's David Pomerantz here, and you've got to believe in magic. You know that, right? So please catch me on Letters and Music this coming Saturday, 1 to 2 p.m., only here on Net 25. Oh, yeah.
In a world that's full of strangers, you've got to believe in magic. Kada umaga
Welcome back to ASEAN in Focus. Most Asian equities extended their impressive run on Thursday as COVID concerns eased and traders grew more optimistic that the Federal Reserve will continue to provide extensive support for some time, while focus turned to the release of U.S. jobs data at the end of the week. Wall Street provided a tepid lead, though the Nasdaq did squeeze out yet another record after a private employment report came in well below forecast. Analysts said there were positives as well as negatives in the miss. After weeks of stuttering performances across world markets, equities are back in popularity after Fed boss Jerome Powell last week indicated that while the bank intends to start tapering its ultra-loose monetary policy, it would do so cautiously. Hong Kong led gains, putting on more than 1% as it continued its rebound from a painful sell-off in recent weeks, fueled by China's crackdown on a range of industries, particularly technology. Shanghai helped by news that the People's Bank of China will provide tens of billions of dollars in low-cost funding to lenders to help them offer more support to small and medium-sized companies as Beijing tries to cushion its economy against a growth slowdown. Tokyo, Singapore, Taipei, Manila, and Jakarta also rose. Sydney, Seoul, and Wellington dipped.
Meanwhile, the Philippine Stock Exchange Index slipped while the peso depreciated on Wednesday following reports of deteriorating manufacturing activities in August. The PSEI fell 1.01% or 69.60 points to 6,785.94. Local shares also declined by 0.24% to 4,215.26, shedding 10.32 points from previous day's trading. Only financials and mining and oil counters ended the day in green territory, gaining by 0.69% to 1,437.55 and 0.76% to 9,295.23 respectively. Holding firms index incurred the largest decrease of 97.26 points, down by 1.41% to 6,778. 0.54. Meanwhile, the peso went back to 50 level against the US dollar on Wednesday. The local currency depreciated by 31 centavos from 49.76 to $1 on the previous day's trading.
Hanoi authorities will slash tuition by half for primary to high school pupils in the 2021 to 2022 school year, according to Director of the Municipal Department of Education and Training, Tran Te Kong. In case the COVID-19 pandemic remains complicated in the second semester, the city will consider waiving public school tuition, Tran added. He said the capital city will continue assistance for teachers and pupils affected by the pandemic so that no one is left behind. Earlier, authorities in Quang Ninh, Da Nang, and Din Duong have announced tuition exemption for the 2021 to 2022 school year.
And the Asian Development Bank, or ADB, approved a $60 million financing package to improve the climate resilience of transport and water supply infrastructure in Vietnam's south-central coastal provinces of Binh Dinh and Quang Nam, especially in the remote upland districts with large ethnic minority communities. Now, the Climate Resilient Inclusive Infrastructure for Ethnic Minorities Project 1 will upgrade 121.8 kilometers of roads using climate-resilient design standards, construct 115 kilometers of water supply pipelines, and help provide reliable weather and climate data in a timely, cost-effective manner About 243,000 people, including 126,300 from ethnic minority groups, are expected to benefit from the project. The project aims to improve the living conditions of ethnic minority communities in remote areas of Vietnam, according to ADB Programs Officer Nguyen Hong An. The financing package includes $58 million in regular ADB loans and a $2 million grant from ADB's High-Level Technology Fund. The grant will fund the supply and installation of data systems for climate risk management. In addition, the project will also induce $21.73 million in financing from the government of Vietnam.
President Rodrigo Roa Duterte on Monday, August 30, ordered the creation of an intensified anti-illegal recruitment task force following the report of the Department of Labor and Employment on the 32 convictions of illegal recruiters. In his public address, President Duterte pointed out that the widespread crime of illegal recruitment causes a heavy burden to its victims after sacrificing their valuable items. Labor Secretary Silvestre Bello III disclosed that there is a current task force on illegal recruitment headed by the Department of Justice, or DOJ, with the Department of Interior and Local Government, or DILG, and the DOLE. However, President Duterte emphasized that it is circuitous. He then requested for a fortified task force that aims to focus on the matter and where an immediate response from the police will be done after the report.
And finally, in our news, U.S. swimmer Haven Shepard lost her legs as a baby after her parents detonated a bomb intended to kill the whole family. Now, this week, at her maiden Paralympics in Tokyo, the upbeat teenager said her goals were all about just going out and having fun. Shepard was 14 months old and living in rural Vietnam when her birth parents, who she has been told were having an affair and could not marry, decided to take their own lives as well as the child's. They strapped themselves to a bomb, held Haven, and detonated the device, killing themselves instantly and blasting their tiny daughter 40 feet out of their hut. Now, she survived, though doctors were forced to amputate her legs. 6 months later, she was adopted by an American family who took her to Missouri to begin a new life. Now 18 years old, she described her debut at the Tokyo Games last Saturday as a surreal moment. She said it's something you talk about with your family for 5 years, and it finally happened. She said of her first race, where she finished 5th in the SMA 200-meter individual medley. She said, "I'm just going out and having fun. I know that I'm here, and I made it. I accomplished my goal of making it to the Paralympics." Shepard also swam in Wednesday morning's SB7 100-meter breaststroke heats, missing out on a place in the final. Now, she's excited, though, about having the Paralympics in the international spotlight and says she is open about telling her story to the world. Thank you very much, Eliana, for joining me today. And again, happy National Day.
Thank you, Vietnam. I would also like to greet our Vietnamese friends. Happy National Day. And that is the latest news in the Southeast Asian nations. Stay updated about the ASEAN region. I'm Eliana Faith Sebastian from EBC Vietnam Bureau, and we live in interesting times.
And we'll see you back tomorrow for more of Vietnam. I'm Alma Angeles, and we live in interesting times.
We know that this is a scary time for all of us.
The coronavirus is changing the world.
Changing our lives.
So please, take care of yourself.
Keep your distance.
Wash your hands.
And if you can, stay at home.
We at DW
are here for you.
We are working tirelessly to keep you informed on all of our platforms.
We're all in this together.
And together,
we'll make it through.
Stay safe, everybody.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
please, stay safe.